All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about God of War 6. We'll be going over some new details discovered within the world of God of War Ragnarok that could give us even more clues to the future mythology in the next God of War game. I'm also going to be diving into the mystery behind the mask and rift, as it's looking like it is the key to everything. So definitely stick around until the end of the video because you guys do not want to miss it. Also, real quick, guys, Happy New Year, and thank you for the support on my 80K giveaway. I announced the winner in the pinned comment, so definitely check that out. And since the previous giveaway was received super well, I'd like to announce I'm giving away a PlayStation 5 again with a game copy of your choice. So Hogwarts Legacy, God of War Ragnarok, or any game you decide. To enter, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel. Let me know your Twitter handle in the comment section, or if you'd like to send proof via my Discord server, you can also do that there as well. And if you want a bonus entry, or if you don't have the other platforms, you can also follow my Twitch. The links are below, and the winner will be announced at 90,000 subscribers. God of War 2018 accomplished the impossible. Not only did the franchise successfully change its gameplay format to a brand new style and new setting, but it exceeded expectations by giving us one of the best single player experiences in recent memory. God of War 2018 managed to bring the classic series, which was of course based on Greek mythology, into the world of Norse mythology, and of course updated the gameplay to be more in line with what people expect from a modern single player action game. The classic God of War titles helped perfect the hack and slash formula, but they weren't exactly unique when you look at other games that were available at the time, like Devil May Cry or Ninja Gaiden, but its setting and presentation is what really set it apart from the competition. No other major video games were covering mythology the way God of War was, and when the 2018 sequel came around, not only did we see Kratos and his story in a more grounded setting, but we also got a very respectful representation of Norse mythology in a completely overhauled combat system that better fit the modern gaming world. With the sequel, God of War Ragnarok, being the last game set in the Norse timeline, fans have been speculating as to where the series is headed next, but the developers have already started teasing the next game. Not only have they started giving little hints and clues as to where they're going to drop Kratos in a few years, but they hit a bunch of cryptic Easter eggs and hints in God of War Ragnarok that fans have been eagerly trying to decipher. You may have finished Ragnarok without even thinking twice about God of War 6, but since the internet is as passionate as it is nowadays, a number of Reddit users and passionate fans have started putting the pieces together. As a quick recap, the main theories as to where Kratos is heading next are Egypt and Mesoamerica. The Egypt rumors have a lot of weight to them, as Sony Santa Monica reportedly were going to make Egypt the main setting of the new series before ultimately deciding to change course and moving to the world of Norse mythology. According to interviews with developers, God of War 2018 was originally pitched as a story set in the world of Egyptian mythology, but after that allegedly started causing division within the development team, the decision was made to change course to Norse mythology, as the team was more unified and passionate about that setting. However, this didn't stop the 2018 game from having a number of references to Egypt, such as a few of the treasures in Tyr's house. Egypt has also been referred to the land of the pharaohs in some God of War games, so the setting has been on the team's radar for quite some time now. In God of War Ragnarok, there are also a number of references to Egyptian mythology, including more treasures and even a bit of dialogue from Mimir, who says they've heard of the River Empire and say it's a lovely place, although they've never been there personally. Following the release of God of War 2018, none other than Cory Barlog stated in an interview that the franchise may very well go to Egypt in the future, which would make total sense if they were already thinking about doing that for the previous title. In fact, it was reportedly Barlog who was pushing the hardest to get God of War 2018 to be set in ancient Egypt, and there are currently a number of theories suggesting that he's finally going to get his way with God of War 6. Barlog actually stepped down from being the main director on God of War Ragnarok, likely so he could focus more on the next game in the series, or the new IP that he's supposedly working on. Barlog is the main franchise's creative mind, and he was almost entirely responsible for God of War 2018 and all of the foundations that it laid down. So it would make sense that he took a step back for God of War Ragnarok so he could focus on the next franchise reboot, since God of War 6 is likely going to be another massive reset the same way God of War 2018 was, but with a brand new setting and new mythology. With Barlog being the main creative behind 2018 and the fact that he's in charge of God of War 6, and he was really eager to move the franchise to Egypt in the past, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he's already setting these plans in motion, especially since he's been talking about it in interviews. But that's all about the setting, but what about the story? With the immense popularity of the rebooted Kratos and his son Atreus, it seems unlikely that God of War 6 is going to be completely walking away from both of them. God of War 2018 served as a reset for the franchise, giving us a new version of Kratos, which made it easy to explain the change in setting, but I have doubts that God of War 6 is going to do the same thing with how popular the new cast of characters is. There have been a number of theories floating around regarding how to move into a new setting without ditching the current cast, and some of them seem pretty legitimate. One of them revolves around a new character coming to Kratos, asking for help to save their civilization from an angry god or godlike entity. Another theory suggests that some kind of god or godlike entity will seek Kratos as a threat after all he's done in God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, and then set out to kill him, perhaps killing or kidnapping Atreus in the process, and forcing Kratos to follow them into this brand new world. With how much magic is already present in the God of War universe, I don't think it would be hard to buy that Kratos steps into some kind of portal into another dimension or realm, or maybe a rift, and that is how we get into the world of Egyptian or Mayan mythology. Or another popular mythology is Hinduism, but like I said, I think it's unlikely that we get a full cast reboot in God of War 6 the way we did with God of War 2018. But that also means we'll have to get some kind of elaborate explanation as to why we're in a different mythological setting. But then again, I don't think that's going to be much of a roadblock when you have people like Cory Barlog in charge of the story, and there are already so many other elements of crazy magic in the rebooted universe. I think the events of Ragnarok are going to directly lead into the main story of God of War 6, but act as a transition to a new setting that inspired by a new set of myths. Only time will tell exactly how Sony Santa Monica decides to get from point A to point B. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Do you think the rift is going to return and that is the portal into the new mythology and new setting? Let me know down below. Now, despite Cory Barlog heavily implying that God of War 6 will have an Egyptian theme, there are a number of conflicting rumors, not to mention the fact that Kratos has actually been to Egypt, as pointed out by you guys in the comments. Now, a lot of the conflicting rumors are actually coming from God of War Ragnarok, which makes things a little bit confusing, aside from the fact that a number of mythologies have been referenced in the rebooted franchise, such as Celtic and Japanese, or in the form of tears poses with Hinduism. Barlog did mention that the series could be covering Egyptian or Mayan in the future. In addition to this, Ragnarok's director has stated that there are a number of Easter eggs in the 2022 game, like we talked about in my last video, that reveal where the series is potentially going next. So no matter where the next game is going to be set, Sony Santa Monica seem to already have their minds made up, which is pretty interesting when you consider the fact that God of War 6 hasn't officially been confirmed yet. In my previous video, I said that I don't believe the rumors that God of War is going to ancient Japan, simply because that's becoming more of a popular setting in video games thanks to games like Ghost of Tsushima and the upcoming Assassin's Creed projects. For more details about that, definitely check out my previous video. But in the meantime, I want to discuss a new theory that has been gaining a lot of traction on Reddit. The theory was laid out by Reddit user Rokuhan, and the amount of research they put into it is absolutely insane. In a thread they posted last month on the Ragnarok subreddit, they stated that the future of God of War series may be closely linked to God of War: The Fallen God, a graphic novel that a lot of you probably didn't even know existed. Their theory reads, according to Gnostic mythology, Plamora, Greek of fullness, is the name of Gnostics gave to heaven, the state of total fullness or abundance, relating particularly to the nature of God, and Eon is what the Gnostics called a divine being who inhabited the Plamora. Each Eon is a male or female counterpart. The Gnostics essentially believe that the universe was created by the one true God who is indefinable and unknowable. They say that this God is so great that no one can comprehend his existence, which is why Odin stated, "The rift whispered things to me I couldn't possibly comprehend." At some point, he had a first thought which was about himself, since at that point there was nothing else to think about. This thought was called forethought, which amounted to God's self-knowledge and was an image of him. Forethought then proceeded to create 4 eons. These included the embodiment of truth, spirit, foreknowledge, and wisdom. All of these gods lived in perfect harmony within Plamora until the god of wisdom rebelled against the other gods. The female half of the Eon Wisdom, Sophia, decided to create without the consent of God or her male half. The result was a defective divine being called Demiurge, who created our world of natural disasters, plagues, and wars. This being was also known to create different mythologies and pantheons of this world, including the Greek, Norse, Egyptian, and other pantheon we'll see in future games. According to the Gnostics, this is an evil god, and the purpose of living in this world is to obtain knowledge and truth from the one true God. Even though this isn't the backstory of God of War, it could very well be used as an inspiration for the future. If so, that supports the theory that the rift could be a gateway to that knowledge and truth from the one true God above all different mythologies and pantheons. In Norse mythology, Ymir is known as the first being. The fact that Odin says that right after he killed Ymir, that this was the place where the first rift was formed, his origin could be a testament as to why it did, since Ymir could be the closest being related to the one true God in the Norse pantheon. The Reddit thread continues by stating, it seems that since the god of wisdom rebelled against the true God, other gods of wisdom like Athena and the Egyptian god of wisdom, also known as Thoth, have a primordial connection, and to get that connection, you have to obtain knowledge and truth from the one true God. Each pantheon might have a different method of doing so. In the Greek pantheon, being the goddess of wisdom, Athena's way to reach a higher existence was her sacrifice to save Zeus. In the Norse pantheon, being the god of wisdom, maybe Odin's way to reach that path was completing the mask in order to look in the rift. I'll leave you guys a link to the Reddit thread in the comment section. Thank you to the Reddit user. But my question is, what do you guys think about all of this? Sony Santa Monica are obviously extremely involved with the God of War mythology, and they want everything to be as airtight as possible. But that's why these theories are so interesting. The developers almost seem to be deliberately throwing us off the scent, don't they? Cory Barlog seemed to be really passionate about Egyptian mythology, and since he's in charge of God of War 6, I think it's easy to think he's going to get his way. But then at the same time, there are other Easter eggs in God of War Ragnarok that seem to suggest that we're going elsewhere. With the insane success of the last two God of War games, it's pretty much confirmed that a new game is going to be announced soon, but with nothing public. All we can do in the meantime is speculate. Santa Monica Studios are surely working really hard on God of War 6, or at least in the pre-production stage. But since there was a 4.5-year wait between God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, I seriously doubt we're going to hear anything anytime soon. Even if God of War 6 started development months ago, we're still another 3 to even 5 years out from the game being released. Ragnarok borrowed a lot of assets from God of War 2018, while God of War 6 is likely going to be built from the ground up again due to the new setting and all of the new gameplay elements that it's going to come with. I wouldn't doubt that we're not going to see anything official for at least another 3+ years. In my opinion, God of War 6 is going to drop sometime in 2026, and we will likely have some kind of enhancements on the PS5 Pro. Some have suggested that God of War 6 is going to be on the PS6, but I seriously doubt that, simply because there's no way Sony wants to wait that long to release another God of War game. Santa Monica Studios is likely hard at work at God of War 6, or Cory Barlog's new IP, or even the hopeful spinoff with Atreus as the main character. Hopefully we get some kind of confirmation within the next couple of years, just so that we're certain on what development is being done, if it's God of War 6 or Cory Barlog's next game. One thing is for certain, all of the theories are pretty awesome, and I'm sure whatever Cory Barlog and the team at Sony Santa Monica have in store for us are going to be worth the wait. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up with this video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you think we're going to Egypt? Do you think we're going to Hinduism? Let me know in the comment section. Like the video, subscribe to the channel with your notifications turned on. Don't forget to enter the 90K subscriber giveaway for the PS5. Thank you all for watching. This has been Wes, and I'll talk to you guys on the next video.